हाय गाइस, मानस क्लासरूम में आप सभी का स्वागत है। तो आपको याद होगा पिछली बार हम पढ़ रहे थे डिज़ास्टर मैनेजमेंट और हमने वॉल्केनिक इरप्शंस तक पढ़ लिया था। तो आज हम पढ़ने वाले हैं फ्लड्स, साइक्लोन्स एंड हरिकेन्स एंड लैंडस्लाइड्स। तो सबसे पहले चलिए स्टार्ट करते हैं फ्लड से। Floods have the greatest damage potential when compared to the other natural disasters over the environment. Floods are also considered to be both social and economic disaster. A flood is a body of water overflowing the river channels. Floods are associated with some extreme natural events that happen over a drainage basin. Floods are defined as relatively high flows which overtakes the natural channels provided for the runoff. The level at which water flows along streams is called as the river stage. During flood, the stage of water river is high. The river water during a flood usually overflows its bend characteristics. क्या क्या होते हैं देखते हैं। लॉन्ग, शॉर्ट, नो वार्निंग डिपेंडिंग ऑन टाइप ऑफ फ्लड। उसके बाद स्पीड है। स्पीड ऑफ ऑनसेट में भी ग्रेजुअल और सडन। देयर में भी सीजनल पैटर्न्स to flooding, and major effects arise mainly from induction erosion. Specifically, they may include isolation of communities or areas and involve the need of large scale evacuation. Every flood affects the long term economic growth, inflation, unemployment, and more financial burden are the other effects. Flood hazard maps, flood proofing of existing buildings, flood detection facilities to reduce flood damage, construction of more open channels and detection facilities are needed. Floods are controlled by construction of reservoirs, river channels, natural detention basins, interbasin water transfer, construction of levees and flood walls, diversion canals, bank stabilization, best agronomic practices, afforestation and catchment zone management. These are done to modify the sustainability of flood damage through floodplain management, structural changes, flood proofing, disaster preparedness, flood forecasting, and flood warning. Disaster management methods are adopted to reduce the loss through emergency evacuation, flood fighting, public health, disaster relief, flood insurance, and tax remission. ये था फ्लड के बारे में। अब हम देखते हैं साइक्लोन्स एंड हरिकेन्स और उसके बाद लैंडस्लाइड्स। साइक्लोन्स और हरिकेन्स देखते हैं। A cyclone is defined as any large system of winds that rotates about a center of low atmospheric pressure with a speed over 100 km per hour. This swirling action happens in a counterclockwise direction north of the equator and in a clockwise direction to the south. The diameter of the ring of swirling winds may range from 500 to 1500 km. It is highly dynamic movement and the direction of its transmission is not precisely predictable. Anticyclones have a flow opposed to that of cyclones, that is an outward spiraling movement with the winds rotating clockwise in the northern hemisphere and counterclockwise in southern hemisphere. They are usually not as strong as the cyclonic storms and bring no rainfall. The tropical cyclones are called hurricanes in the Atlantic and Caribbean, as typhoons in the Western Pacific, Philippines and China, and as willies of the coast of Australia. कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स क्या है इनके देखते हैं। यूजुअली लॉन्ग वार्निंग, usually long warning derived from systematic international meteorology observation. और उसके बाद speed of onset tends of conform to seasonal pattern. Major effects arise mainly from destruction of ace and destruction and और सर्विस में ये सारे थे कैरेक्टरिस्टिक्स. आप इसका चाहे तो स्क्रीनशॉट ले सकते हैं ताकि आप इसको बाद में पूरा पढ़ सकें. बहुत काम की केस स्टडीज़ है. आगे हम देखते हैं लैंडस्लाइड्स. Landslides is a general term used to describe the downslope movement of soil, rock and organic materials under the effects of gravity and also the landforms that results from such movements. Landslide can be classified into different types on the basis of the types of movement and the type of materials involved. The material in the landslide may be either a rock or soil or both. The latter is described as a earth if mainly composed of sands, ice or finer particles and debris. If composed of corner fragments, the type of movement describes the actual internal mechanics of how the landslide mass is displaced. Fall, topple, slide, spread और flow. Characteristics देखते हैं. Warning period में very little or no warning may be available if the cause is an earthquake. However, some general warning may be assumed in the case of landslide arising from continuous heavy rain. Minor initial landscapes may give warning that heavy landslides are to follow. Natural movement of land surface can be monitored, thus providing long warning is possible of landslides. Speed of onset is most rapid. Damage to structures and systems can be served. Building may be buried or rivers may be blocked, causing flooding. Crops may be affected. Sometimes areas of property land may be lost altogether. When landslides are combined with very heavy rain and flooding, the movement of debris, example remains of buildings, uprooted trees, may cause high level of damage destruction. तो ये हमने आज पढ़ लिए हैं 3 टॉपिक. कल हम पढ़ेंगे बुश फायर्स. तो आज की वीडियो के लिए इतना ही. बाय.